Oh, yeah, you can tell by the sound of the revs. The start sequence underway as the gate is down, and we are off and rolling with race number 11 here on our first day of racing in Moto number 1 at Loretta Lynn's. Nick Romano, the number 41 machine, taking that early lead and getting the Bell Helmets Whole Shot Award. It was side by side with Will Campbell, but it looks like Romano will get the nod on that one. Joey Orico opening up in the number 3 spot as we got 3 Huskies kicking off the early lead in this one. Julian Balmer back to the number 4 spot. Ryder Gwynn in 5th, but we got a lot of position jockeying going on behind our leader right now, the 41 of Nick Romano, as he rolls into the 10 Commandments here on lap number 1. And Megawatt, look at the lead. He's already beginning to amass, but here comes your defending champ, Ryder DiFrancesco, man, starting out in this one back in a 13th place position as they rounded the first turn. He's already up into a number 2 spot.
You know, that's just smart racecraft right there. Use those insides, put himself up on the edges of that track, and like you said, past 11 guys right there, puts himself right where he needs to be, right up on the tail of Romano, and this is the showdown people were wanting to see. A little mistake there by DiFrancesco, stuck his foot in a little deep, but Romano taking advantage of a clear track ahead of him, got a great start. Pictured this on his mind in the starting line, you know, went over this 2 or 3 times, and sure enough, here it comes to fruition. Already trying to check out as he enters the beach for the first time, but Ryder D on that number 1 machine, not going to let that happen.
Doesn't appear to be any watch shaking with anyone on his tail right now. Romano very, very calm, cool, and collected in that number 1 spot as DiFrancesco still closing in the gap right now on board that number 1 as they go under the Kawasaki banner here into the Thor sweeper around that Polysport pond, and it's still Romano leading this one by just a couple of feet here now as we roll toward the last turn. And look at DiFrancesco already trying to set himself up to gain some time here.
Yeah, right down below us right now as they go past the tower. DiFrancesco trying to play it smart, went down there to the inside, a little bit deeper, or not quite as deep as it has been, so maybe that's going to work out here later in the moto. Going to be a good line choice, but back past the billboard right now, Romano going inside, DiFrancesco going outside.
Just 1 second separating these 2 riders as they cross the finish line stripe, and again, we got to remember through that first couple of turns, DiFrancesco going from 13th all the way up to the number 2 spot. Now as we head through the Bell Moto, Whole Shot Forest, looks like riders beginning to settle in. And Romano, again, just in an amazing pace up front aboard that 41 Husky.
Yeah, we watched yesterday during practice. Both of these guys knew they were going to be on point. This is the showdown we were kind of looking for. Romano doing everything he needed to do right off the start. DiFrancesco looked like Roxon, though, somewhere around 13th position, able to pass 11 guys in about 2 corners, made some smart moves, got out of that traffic, and now he's where he needs to be. He's going to sit back and watch the lines of Romano for just a moment, wait for Romano to maybe make a mistake, push the subject like he's starting to do right now, starting to pick the pace
exactly up. Real estate starting to close up now between the 1st and 2nd place riders. Ryder Gwynn back at the number 3 spot right now. Just to give you a heads up, they are at least 5 seconds back further from 3rd on back. Mark Finnis back in the number 4 spot. Julian Bomer now in the number 5 ride as Romano looked like he might be about to be under some pressure. Again, finds a comfort zone as they roll through the Rocky Mountain sweeper turn now.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times in only a matter of 2 laps. Look back at number 43.
Where is the number 1? He's really losing some real estate back there now as Romano looks to be by himself now in this number 1 position.
Yeah, I don't see the green machine anywhere now that you mentioned it. Nowhere in the camera frame. So looking out across in front of us, and sure enough, there comes our leader right in front of the Polysport pond. I don't see the green machine. Is that it right there? There comes the number 1 machine now. So obviously had some kind of off-track excursion or a soil sample, one or the other, but the number 1 machine definitely off the pace. Doesn't look to be quite as aggressive.
Well, maybe recollecting himself after that early push here and going to save a little energy here for a couple of laps and then try to put the hammer back down. We're only about 5 minutes into this 20-minute moto, so he's still got 3/4 of a moto to get some work done out here, so still got some time. As we check back a little further now, got some changes going on back there as Ryder Gwynn holds on to that number 3 spot, but we see that Balmer now has gotten into the number 4 spot as he gets around Phineas. Phineas dropping to the number 5 spot. Colin Allen, the number 35 machine, now running in 6th. Noah Viney, the 43, in 7th. Miles Gilmore after 2 is 8th. Revan Gordon in 9th, and Preston Bothluck now rounding out the top 10.
Rodney, take a look at these lap times there. That's going to tell the story right there. That's the tale of the tape. Nick Romano, 2:01.9 last time around. DiFrancesco making a big mistake still turned to 2:10. Ryder Gwynn 2:11, Julian Bomer a 2:09, Colin Allen a 2:07. So 2:07 and 2:09, the closest thing to that 2:01 we're going to see.
Two riders to watch out for. Trevor Call of the 74 machine with a 2:09 back in the number 12 spot. Has got a little bit faster lap times than the riders ahead of him. Ivan Aldama in the number 11 spot, now looking to work into that number 10 spot. As we look a little further into that, Colin Allen, the 35, in that 6th place position, turning a 2:07. Finnis turned a 2:11, so this ought to get pretty interesting.
All right, Rodney, just got the word from Kevin Kelly there. It looked like the altercation, or the incident, let's say, was at the end of the 10 Commandments, and obviously Ryder D not up to speed right now, kind of backed off the pace just a good bit, and the way we're located with our monitors and such, weren't able to catch that for you. But there comes our leader right now, Nick Romano, back around the Polysport Pond one more time, and look at this. Looking good, drifting that thing around the sand right through the middle, through the main line.
Well, again, keeping
the finish line.
Keeping an eye on these riders a little further back as we wrap up lap number 3 to see how things have sorted out now. There is Romano in, slowing down to a 2:03 pace. Hey folks, the folks from MX versus ATV All Out, we need you to head up to the arena right now at this time, if you would. Our representatives from MX versus ATV All Out, please report to the Lucas Oil Arena at this time. Thank you.
Well, Rodney, right now, Nick Romano on point.
He is, but remember I said keep an eye out for Colin Allen. Now look at this. He's gone from 6th into the number 4 spot as he's gotten around a couple of riders there. And now we see him around Phineas. So Phineas now drops into the number 5 spot. Colin Allen in 4th. Noah Vining's running 6th. Gilmore, Gordon, Boasplug, and Aldama now rounding out the top 10. Collins still hanging out back there in that number 12 spot, but don't count him out. Maybe a little mistake as we see his lap time drop to a 2:14 that time around.
Yeah, man, all the usual suspects up there and in it. You called Allen, and he made all those moves in a matter of a lap and a half, basically.
Yeah, I mean, the kid definitely on fire. Now he's got a little bit of real estate to make up. Actually, he's closing up, it looks like, now on the number 25. For 3rd place, the 35 and the 25 going at it right now, and it looks like Colin Allen really riding rails out there just a little bit harder, a little bit faster.
The big story is the number 1 machine not on the track right now, Rodney. The number 1 machine, I don't see Ryder DeFrancisco out there at the moment, so had a bit of an incident there at the end of the 10 Commandments, so going to see if we can get a little more information on that situation.
There you go. So Bomer now up to the number 2 spot. Ryder Gwynn is 3rd. Colin Allen in 4th. That's where a lot of that change came in. Allen got around Finnis for 5th, but it was where we saw losing the number 1 machine up there in that top 5 like that. So that's where we see that big change, and we see another big lap coming in, and maybe some more changes as we'll catch up with that 3rd and 4th place ride. Ryder Gwynn and Colin Allen, as they had themselves a great battle starting to shape up, and looks like Nick Romano there it is. He just went by the tower here and passed the finish line over the tunnel jump and in front of the billboards. And where is 2nd place? Still not checking in here at the finish line yet. And finally, as he heads to the Bell Moto Hole Shot 4, 2nd place is coming around the final turn now, and we see Julian Bomer now checking in. He was 19 seconds behind last time around. 24-second lead right now for Nick Romano. Mark Finnis now up to the number 3 spot, so he's gotten around Colin Allen, back around Ryder Gwynn back in the number 5 spot. So Gwynn really under fire right there, and I would say that Finnis took advantage of the situation between that battle for the number 3 spot.
I'm going to guess that's exactly what happened. Those guys got tangled up, and sure enough, he's come in there, took advantage of the situation, and gained that position. Right now, we are just about, 9 minutes into this one. Got about 11 minutes to go. And sure enough, when we take a look at the lap times, 2:04 for Romano, but look at this. Finnis matching that lap. So back there trying to make something happen, because there's a lot of time left in this moto. And when you're running 5 seconds faster than the guy ahead of you, good chance you're going to be able to make something happen.
We got a battle for 2nd place is basically what we're seeing here, because 5 seconds and a 3.2 second gap right now. Mark Finnis Finest back there in the number 3 spot on the rear wheel, the 29 machine. That's where the battle is going on for the second. And there's the 29. So where is that third place by process of elimination? We should be seeing that 51 in the shot, even tighter than that. But it looks like maybe Bomer has picked up the pace a little bit. So maybe someone giving him the pit board to pick it up. And he's done just exactly that, as he's finding a little bit of comfort zone right now in that number 2 spot.
Either that or Alan made a mistake, or Alan made a mistake, possibly find us. When we take a look at what's going on out there right now, the thing about this situation is the guy out front still has the fastest lap time.
Right.
Okay, guys working up there behind him. You got that 204 for Finest. He's a lot faster than Bomer right now, but the problem is he's got to get around Bomer before he can make an attack on Romano, and only so much time to make that happen. And I thought right now that Finest would be able to make that move a little quicker for that second spot.
Looking back a little further, Preston Boseplug, who back there started out, I think, 10th place after that first lap of racing, is inching his way forward as well up to the 7th place. He has a 2:08. He's closing in on Miles Gilmore as well. We might see a battle shaping up for the 6th place position aboard the number 16 as we check in. Romano now a 27-second lead over Bomer, and here is Allen and Bomer checking in. So that battle never really developing over that last lap. Actually, Allen having that 2:04 lap, well, it was Findus, I guess, who had the 2:04.
Yeah.
He must have made the mistake. Allen gets back around him, so we see a 2:14. So he dropped 10 seconds on that one lap right there. Bomer really getting some breathing room in this one. So see what happens here on lap number 6. We're just past the halfway point. 11.5 minutes is what we're working on for this first moto of racing, a 20-minute moto these kids out here running. And as far as Loretta Lynn temperatures and heats are concerned, this is a very comfortable day. So this is making for some pretty good racing, really competitive racing, because these kids can throw it all out there today.
Yeah, everybody pumped up about these conditions right now. It's better for the bodies, better for the bikes. Everything works better without that heat. And right now, when you take a look at Romano, this guy is on his game. You know, not sure exactly what happened to that number 1 machine, but lap after lap, Romano continues to be consistent, keeping that thing around 2:04 to 2:05 on the lap times consistently. Best lap time 2:01, and right now that consistency thing really playing into the favor of Nick Romano.
Well, if you're looking for a race to watch, we were talking about Boseplug there for a moment, but looks like Parker Ross might be the one starting to rise to the occasion here in the latter half of the moto, as we see him making a couple of moves over the last lap or so. He's up to 7th now around Preston Boseplug, the 28 machine, turning a 2:06. He's 3 seconds faster. He should be around Gilmore now for that number 6 spot. So we should be seeing Parker Ross likely and possibly maybe even challenging for a top 5 here by the lap in. We see our leader now around behind the billboard, but as he continues to open up a monstrous lead, nearly 30 seconds now as we cross the finish line stripe for 6 laps complete for Nick Romano.
Yeah, we're talking about 27-second lead there, Rodney. That's just putting in the time, doing the work, being consistent, and again, focusing on no mistake. Rider down in front of your leader right there, able to successfully get around them. They were laying right in the main race line, but Romano able to dodge the bullet there, keep it on 2 wheels, coming through the short chute, heading back into the 10 Commandments right now. Like you said, keep an eye on that machine of Parker Ross.
Up to 5th.
Huh?
He's up to 5th.
Yeah, exactly. Keep an eye on Parker Ross, just picking up another spot as Rodney informed us.
And he's right on the rear wheel of the 51 machine, less than a half second behind. Man, Parker Ross really fast moves here in the latter part of this moto. He had the top 10 for the bigger part of this entire moto, and then once he graced the top 10, he has done nothing but work his way up like a ladder through the entire field. Right now in 5th place and working on 4th place.
Yeah, and he did all that in just a matter of a couple laps. As you say, picked up that pace, was able to shave some seconds. And when you talk about 3 seconds, Rodney, it's hard to pick up a 1/10 of a second in a corner, a couple tenths on a straightaway. So when you find seconds, you're doing something.
Yeah, that's making some major waves out here on this race course. Says a lot about the competitiveness, I think, of this racetrack as well, because as much as you got to compete up against 41 other riders, there is that 40-second competitor out there, and that is the racetrack.
You better believe it. It's a living, breathing thing, man. That's for sure. It's going to change every lap, no question. And you know what? The approach to that is going to be different every time, because what you're counting on being there may not be there this time. So always in the back of your head, you have to be ready. The leaders have to be ready for that adjustment.
They most certainly do. And speaking of leaders, deep into some lap traffic now is Nick Romano as he makes his way around the billboard yet one more time. This kid dropping his lap times now easily to a 2:08, just kind of rolling through the latter part of this moto. 7 laps in, as we said, nearly 30 seconds, 27.9, just under 28 seconds last time around. I'm going to bet that it's going to be somewhere 30.1. That's so only losing a couple of seconds that time. Ballmer still holding steady. He's whoa, man, finished now. Look at that. Ross has really lit the fire out here in the number 51 machine as they both get around Colin Allen now. Up to third is the 51, Parker Ross in fourth, and there's Preston Bostwalk up to the number 5 spot.
How about that? These guys got the pit boards, didn't they, Rodney? It's go time. Less than 4.5 minutes right now to make this happen. You know that they've read the pit boards. They know what time it is, and each of these guys, like you said, making the move, got around Allen Bostwalk right there in that 5th place, but Parker Ross not done yet. That guy's trying to make his way up to the podium.
Wow, we still got more changes, and Trevor Collett finally getting out of inside that top 10. He's up to 8th. He's got Ivan Daldama right with him. We'll see if they can make a couple of moves in this one as well. 2 lap boardies out. I'm heading on down to the podium right now, Megawatt. Nick Romano looks like he's got this one in command.
10-4, buddy. We got it in just a couple laps to go here. One more time for the 41 machine before he sees that white flag. Trying to make 0 mistakes, trying to keep this thing in line right now, and sure enough, the 41 and Nick Romano just about 30 seconds out front right now, waiting to see that white flag. Going to be the most important white flag he's going to see for quite some time. Put another one in the books here, making his way through. Can't make any mistakes right now. Coming through the finish line one more time. Bummer still waiting to see him come through the finish line right now. 8 laps in for Romano. Waiting to see that number 29 machine. I believe that was it right there. Where's that Suzuki at? Second place now, working his way around, coming through that final left-hander. Julian Bomer right now, that's our second place rider on that number 29 machine. He has checked in. Mark Finest there in that 3rd position. Parker Ross, holy cow, Finest, Ross, and Bostwalk right there together. Just about 5 seconds separating the 3 of those guys. Colin Allen still holding down that number 6 spot. I'm sorry, Colin Allen moving into the number 5 spot. Miles Gilmore now into the number 6 position. White flag continues to fly, looking for a leader to make his way back around one more time. The number 29 machine, Julian Bomer, riding a great ride. Having a great motor. He coming out the short chute now, making his way into the 10 Commandments. There comes your leader around the beach for the final time. White flag flying right now. The number 41, Nick Romano.
Yeah, and this is, I'm sorry to step on your Megawatt, but I'm just saying this is what Romano was looking for last year, to be honest with you. What we're seeing him start out here in these mini senior classes today, you know, he was destined, it seemed like, last year, especially after going through the areas and the regionals and many of the other big races that he had raced throughout the course of the season, and then just could not put it together last year here at Loretta Lynn's. But man, made some changes in the offseason, and look what's happening, man. This kid has really nailed things down for 2019.
Yeah, and there's the proof in the pudding right there. This is exactly what he wanted as far as redemption goes. This is what it's all about to him, and doing exactly what he set out to do. Oh, a little bit of a mistake there.
He can afford it.
Yeah.
A 35-second lead right now. He actually picked the pace back. Oh, and he goes down.
He is down, absolutely, and he can't afford that. That's for sure. Got to get this thing rolling again before we give up that position.
Fortunately able to kick that one in one kick and get her fired back up. But again, a comfort zone of 35 seconds. He didn't have to be too pressed, but at the same time, Megawatt, we know last lap and little mistakes like that start happening, he might start losing his concentration.
Yeah, actually making a couple more little mistakes. The way that back end of that bike's going, I'm trying to see if there's a flat tire.
That's what I was getting ready to ask. Does it look like maybe we could see a flat tire going on there?
That bike has just started taking on a personality of its own in a couple of these corners. One rider goes down in front of him in the 10 Commandments. You can see he's backed way off. Doesn't appear to be a flat tire, so looks like he's back on the gas again. So Romano just having a couple little faux pas there.
That 40-second competitor out there on the racetrack, the racetrack, actually living and breathing, just like you said, reaching up and snagging Romano a couple times here in this last lap, giving him a little something to think about, I'm sure, as he makes his way toward the finish line.
Yeah, no question, going to keep that in the back of his head. And like we said just a little bit ago, it's so hard a lot of times for these riders to slow down, to pull back. Oh, we're going to take it easy, we're going to cruise to the finish line. Well, that throws them out of the rhythm. They're used to running the pace, they're used to keeping a certain speed, and sure enough, they lose their concentration, they start losing their lines and that type of thing when they try to slow down. So being careful sometimes doesn't really work out for them. The 41 right now, Nick Romano, though, less than half a lap away, Rodney.
Under that Kawasaki banner through the Thor sweeper turn around the Polysport pond. Looks like Nick Romano is on his way to a second-class win here on this first day of racing. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and Romano rounding the final turn, and the checkers are waving as things are on track for Nick Romano with the win here in the Mini Senior 12 to 14 class, this Mini Senior 1 class. Romano out of Bayside, New York on that Monster Energy Team Dunlop Oakley goggles, bell helmets, back machine. Got really focused on what was going on there with Nick Romano. We have Parker Ross up to second place position on that final lap, and taking the checkers in second was Parker Ross. What an amazing ride for that rider. Like we said, didn't really see a whole lot of him till the very end, about just past the halfway point. We caught up with him, and man, he really started railing it. So Ross up to the number 2 spot finish, in the number 3 spot. Looks like Bomer in 4th aboard the 29 Suzuki. Had a heck of a run all the way up to second place earlier in the moto. Colin Allen, as we said, had to work up through the pack. The 35 machine, he was up and then settles into a 5th place position. Trevor Collop, whom we caught back there in the 12th place position early in the moto, up to 6th here at the end of the first moto, so making up some good gains there. Miles Gilmore, Preston Boseplug, Ivan Aldoma Jr. in 9th, and Trip Rexroth rounding out the top 10.
Well, I got to tell you, Romano, we can't say enough about him, but I got to tell you, most impressive to me was Parker Ross right there. I mean, the effort that guy put in, the amount of ground he was able to make up, the positions he was able to pick up, extremely impressive. And I got to say right now, that was one of the best performances I've seen yet.
And I'll tell you also just the idea of what the second moto is going to be with these guys, better starting positions and so forth. Also, got to take into account the number 1 machine, Di Francesco, out early in this one, so he is going to be a factor in the second and third motos coming up. May not be so much a factor as far as the championship is concerned, but he can play spoiler out there.
That's a familiar story.
Down to the podium with Jason Wygant.
I use my feedback. That's how you know I'm coming. And now we've got it. A dominant moto win for the number 41 and the Bell Helmets Whole Shot Award for Nicholas Romano. Yeah. That ended up being a big lead. You must be feeling really good this week.
Yeah, I got off to the whole shot, first whole shot here since 2014. I ripped it. My Dunlop tires hooking up like amazing. And then I got off to the whole shot, charged hard, got a lead. I didn't even see second even after I fell. I don't know what happened, but once I see now, I just chilled out. And yeah, it was a good race, 2 for 2 for this week. I'm done for today. See you tomorrow.
All right. Who do you want to thank, Nick?
My mom and dad, especially my sisters. Renthal, Bell Helmets, Monster Energy, AP Designs, Oakley Goggles, Shift Gear, Mobius Knee Braces, Alpine Star Boots, Nihilo, Vertex, Motion Pro Hinson, Ronnie Tishner, Tamer, SOB, Guts, Moto Stuff, Dunlop Tires, and everyone else. Thank you.
There it is, Nicholas Romano, your gold medalist. with the Moto win in Mini Senior. Looking for Parker Ross to come on up. Come on up, Parker. And we will hand out the silver medal Good ride. Let's hear it for Parker Ross. How'd that moto go, Parker?
Went pretty good. I got up to a pretty good start, 41st gate pick, and just held her wide around the outside.
Wow. So not that bad considering.
Yeah.
Who do you want to thank?
I want to thank my mom and dad, CP Racing, Testa, 2X Promotions, Addiction Industries, Scott, Fly, Alpine Stars, and everybody else that supports me. Thank you so much.
Let's hear it for Parker Ross. All right, good job. And I'm looking for Mark Fenice, our third place finisher. And we'll hand over the bronze. And then we're going into 250B and Pro Sport after that. And we're going to be joined actually with Austin Fortner, going to help us with the call during this B Moto. Let's hear it for Mark Fenice. How's that ride?
It wasn't the best.
What do you want to fix for the next one?
Just work on my inside leg being tight and try not to fall as much.
Who do you want to thank?
I think my mom, my dad, Chloe Mex, Fly Racing, 100%. I think that's it.
Okay. Mark Fenice taking third place with the bronze in Mini Senior. And 250B and Pro Sport are coming up. Our next two classes. We'll send it up to the tower. We got a special